Evening, but on what's brewing today, Edtech platform Kreedo has raised $4 million in a Series A funding round co-led by Singapore-based Heritage Capital and existing investor UBS Optimus Foundation. The round also saw participation from other existing investors such as Grey Matters Capital, One Crowd, the Chennai Angels, the Joka Angel Network, and others. Joining us now to discuss this further is Mridula Shridhar, the co-founder of Kreedo. Mridula, thank you so much for taking time out and being here with us on Startup Street. You know, essentially, just to explain a little bit, Kreedo partners with schools and preschools, and you aim to transform the way learning is delivered, especially in the early years, right? So if you could explain to us how exactly you're doing this, take us through your 60 learning framework.
Sure. Thank you for having me here. And yes, we partner with schools, largely preschools, as well as budget private schools, or what we call affordable private schools, to transform the way they deliver early learning. We've been in the space for a while, and we have a solution called 60, the centerpiece of which is toys. So 60, essentially, I'll expand it for you, is toys, timetable, technology, theory, teamwork, which is peer learning, and most importantly, of course, teacher training. So we adapt all these schools to a play-based learning model, and we have managed to institutionalize play-based learning in all these schools to increase the level of learning outcomes, especially in the areas of foundational literacy and foundational numeracy. And at the centerpiece of this is the toys, which is our Kreedo lab. And we have all these other elements which sort of enhance the learning experience for the school.
So toys at the center of the learning experience for the younger children. But, you know, you've raised the money that you've raised, which is $4 million, to primarily launch new offerings, among other things, right? But if you could take us through what's in the pipeline for Kreedo in terms of these new offerings.
Yeah, absolutely. So right now we're working in the space of 3 to 8, the age group of 3 to 8, which is pre-nursery, nursery, LKG, UKG in grade 1 and 2. With this round of funding, we hope to expand our reach upwards. We are going to be introducing our class 3 to class 5 curriculum, bringing more children into the fold. We're currently in about 9 cities, partnering with about 1,600 schools. We already have about 1.5 lakh children on learning on the Kreedo platform. But with this round of funding, we will be taking it in the next year to about 2,700 children and more than 2.7 lakh children and more than 2,700 schools, with maybe 3 or 4 more cities in the pipeline. So increasing the geography as well as going upwards with the product reach.
Right. So, so lots of expansion plans there. But, you know, you claim to have doubled down on your revenues in the last 2 years, right? So if you could take us through where you're at currently and what about profitability?
So yeah, this year, as I mentioned, we are partnering with about 1,700 schools. We just closed our annual year at roughly close to 50 crore revenue. We have invested heavily into the business right now. So yes, we are marginally EBITDA negative in this year, but we will be profitable in the following year, where we hope to take our revenue to close to 100 crore, a little less than that.
So profitability in the next year is what you're working with right now. But, you know, like you just said, you work with kids between the ages of 3 and 8, right? So if you could, you've also mentioned the number of schools you work with. And tell us how your model is helping these schools significantly improve learning outcomes. If you could, you know, sort of give us a use case.
Yeah, absolutely. So we've been supplying materials to schools for a few years, and we are, core believers of the Montessori way of learning, and Kreedo sort of modeled itself around that. But what we have understood is just giving them toys or putting materials in the school is not sufficient to make a learning change, especially in budget private schools, where the teachers are right now, they're fairly semi-skilled. There is a severe shortage of skilled teachers in the country, especially post-COVID. One of the things that schools really desperately need is for players like us to come in and help them through the entire transformation process. So we put this lab into school, we train the teachers, we also monitor and audit the teachers. We do a lot of parent engagement as well to bring in the awareness. So we bring in all the stakeholders. It's not just about putting a set of toys over there. We make sure that play becomes institutionalized as a part of the child's daily life. Otherwise, it's just an extracurricular activity sometimes where there are some toys, and occasionally, you know, children are allowed to play. For us, it's not like that. It becomes a part of their daily timetable.
Right.
And the toys are used every day. Yeah.
Absolutely. So, you were talking about your expansion plans. If you could tell us the cities that you're currently present in and which are the cities you're looking to add, Also, what's the focus on schools beyond tier 1 cities? What's the demand you're sort of seeing over there for this kind of learning?
Yeah. So presently we're in Bangalore, Hyderabad, Pune. We've just introduced Chennai and Delhi last year. We're also in Sangli, Kolhapur, Belgaum, a lot of tier 3, tier 4 cities in and around that belt. We did both test cases. We did metro cities as well as tier 3 and 4. The demand is uniform. The demand is everywhere. 70% of urban India goes to affordable private schools. These are schools that charge less than roughly 30,000 in a metro, which is practically a parent's 1 month or 2 months salary. These are first generation learners. And the demand for good quality learning is massive, whether it's metro or a tier 3, 4. And yes, next year we have already started our expansion into zones like Mysore, Hubli. We are doing Coimbatore and a lot of tier 3, tier 4. For us, there is no dearth of demand across any city.
Absolutely. So big focus there on the south, as I can see. But Mridula, we're completely out of time. Thank you so much for joining us on Startup Street, and we wish you